And there's the water pump. And there's the little spigot that it locates on. Actually getting it to locate required a little bit of wiggling around, more than I thought actually, but you can definitely feel when it does locate there because it sort of clicks and goes back to where it should be. Okay, I'm going to put the bolts in that now. Got a new oil filter on there, some new oil lines. Now I was going to use a local hydraulic line maker to make those because it's very cheap, perfectly adequate, and would have been fine. But unfortunately, when I went to said hydraulic line maker, his machine or thing for making banjo fittings was out of order, so that was a no-no. So in the end, I grabbed my ankle, paid the 115 quid for some rust-proof oilways from eBay. Quite a popular option, and that's what I'm going to have to do. So come on in, let's fit this impeller and get the engine started. There it is, brand spanking new, complete with gasket. There are my thumb screws there fitted. Just going to take all this apart and fit everything. Some white lithium grease here, which I'm going to grease the inside of the pump body with, and the shaft. Should mention at this point that the reason I didn't pack those seals with grease is because that's the seals on the, you can't see them now, but if you watch the last video they're in there, and you might be able to make out that there appears to be a gap between the shaft and the body there. The seal is in there, and previously it was packed with grease. Now the problem with that is that that seal is cooled and lubricated by the cooling water that runs through the engine, and if you pack it up with grease, that can't get in there. So that's a bad thing, I think. I think that's a bad thing to do. So I need to make this so that all the fins go to the right, meaning that the rotation will be anti-clockwise when it's in, just like that. In fact, not quite like that. That fin isn't it? And to change the direction of it now might not be easy. So what I'm going to do is wipe my fingers with a bit of pre-prepared bog roll that I've got here. So the stop lever is out, and the only reason I do that is it cuts the fuel off. So I'm just using the cranking handle now and the decompression lever, so I can just turn that impeller pump a little bit to put that bit in an easier place. There we go, look. So I can watch it doing its thing now. It's all pointing the right way and everything. Perfect. Sorry about that. You alright? So now that that's in there, that should be it there, look. I'm just going to snug those down by hand, and then I'm going to get the hose pipe in here and we're going to start this bad boy up. I've got the boatyard water supply here tied to the seacock, not to the engine mount, because that's going to jump around like crazy when it starts, if it starts. Here we go then. I've had a good wipe round for oil and stuff. Oh, battery's on. Uh-oh, here we go then. Let's try again. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Show me the water. Come on. Yeah. Good. So that's all working as expected. It's been running for 15 minutes now, just before I turn it off, just to wrap this little bit up. When I changed the oil, I filled the oil filter a third full with oil before I screwed it on. And I probably spent 5 minutes with the fuel cut-off switch pulled out and the decompression lever up, just hand cranking it to get the oil to circulate, because the last time I changed the oil it took longer than, I was a little bit uncomfortable with how long it took for the oil pressure to come up. This time it came up immediately. So we'll see. There's no leaks anywhere. It's a good one, I think. It's a good one. Something else that I've done today is one of those jobs that I absolutely dreaded, which was cutting out the rebate for the window frames. I've done it on both sides and coated it with penetrating epoxy. The reason I waited to do that until they were fixed on is because I've taken probably a third of the depth out of the carlin, you know, the combing there. If I had done that before I'd screwed them in, there is a risk that carling or combing would have kinked where I thinned it. It would also have meant that I would have had to fix that bit first, which increases the likelihood. Perhaps not even weakening it, but if you had looked from the bows to the stern, along that you might have seen it. No vertical fastenings under the windows, and that the horizontal fastenings were below where I thought I was going to cut. It was all a bit of an estimation. This is not a job that I've been looking forward to, I've got to tell you, but it's actually worked out alright. They look cool. There's the other side, look. So I'm just going with the penetrating epoxy now, just making sure that in the seam between the cabin and the carlin there are no gaps like that. When it's all varnished up, which, I mean, that's going to be a mammoth job. When it's varnished, it's going to look nice. Soon I'll be able to uncover my boat. It is waterproof now. The windows are in. I've just got to put the window frames on, and we should be good to go. Oh, okay. Here we go again then. As much as I would like to start the day off with painting the deck, I know that about midday it's going to get nasty again, so I can't really do that. It would be a shame to rush it and end up having to do it again. So instead, what I'm going to do is grind these back and get them ready for tabbing, and hopefully put the tabbing in today. That'd be nice. The supplies have arrived for doing that. So it's the job that we all love, isn't it? It's out with the angle grinder and dive into it. Buy a boat, they said. You'll love it, they said. So the grinding is complete. This is 600 grain or 600 grams per square metre fiberglass mat. It's quite thick, this, which is good news. I can do it in one layer. Normally, when you separate fiberglass mat, you should pull it so that you've got like a hairy edge because you can blend it in properly. This is tabbing. I don't really want to blend it in, so I'm going to cut it with scissors. And that is my measurement. So I need two of those. 1, 2, about that wide, and all the way down. I guess we want about, well, used more resin than I thought it would. Well, that's okay. I have some new resin. Not run out. Oh. Well, it promises not to rain too much today. Actually, it promises not to rain at all. So, it's Jotomastic 80. That's the first coat, and then it'll be some HB hardtop to finish it off. It's great stuff, this. But this is the last of it, so I've got to make it count. Excellent. That'll be for my detailing. And this will be for just legging it on there as quickly as I can. There we go. As long as the rain holds off for a while, we should be okay.